Hi, this is Kyle Eastham with Bold Step. We work with universities to provide safety education and sexual assault prevention. You hear a lot of talk about bystander intervention. My message today, don't count on it. Don't rely on bystander intervention to prevent the sexual assaults on your campus. But Kyle, how can you be against bystander intervention? That's heresy. Let me explain. Based on Latane and Darley's research of several years ago, they identified 5 stages that a person must go through to successfully intervene as a bystander. If they don't go through each one of those stages, then that whole process will be short-circuited. First of all, they have to notice the event. They have to be aware that something's going on that might be a problem. Right away we have several barriers. Let's imagine a scenario of a party on your campus. 50 or 60 students are there. There's music, loud music, food, alcohol, lots of people coming and going. And our bystander has to notice an event. She may be distracted by the music. She may be distracted by the 4 beers she's already had. She may be thinking more about her own situation than what's going on the other side of the room. She's thinking, how's my hair? Do these shoes look okay? Oh, I think that guy's checking me out. So she's not worried about what's going on over there. She's worried about what's going on here. So first they have to notice the event. Next they have to identify that event as the source of a possible problem. Now, there are guys and girls talking all over the place. There's flirting. How do they know what makes one situation risky and another one safe? I mean, if a guy is sticking his hand down a girl's shirt and she's struggling to get away, that's obviously a problem. But most situations are much, much more subtle than that. So they may have noticed the behavior, but they're unsure of what the danger is. They're not sure if those two are in a romantic relationship. They're not sure who said what to whom. And so people who aren't very sure, a lot of times, if they're not sure what to do, they won't do anything. It's funny, a lot of times when people are unsure what to do, they look to other people for cues. And so in our party scenario, if the bystander is unsure if this is a bad situation or not, he or she may look to other people, waiting to see if someone's going to take the initiative. And when no one else does, they think, well, I'm not going to be the first one out there because I don't want to look stupid. So there may be 6 people in the room, in fact, who have noticed the event. They have identified it as a possibly dangerous situation, but no one else seems to be saying anything, so they're not going to be the first to say something. They look around, no one else is doing anything, so no one else does anything. Make sense? The third step is to actually take responsibility for intervening. They've noticed the situation, they've identified, yeah, this could be a problem. Now they take responsibility thinking, yeah, I really should do something or say something. Again, several barriers at this stage that could stop this whole intervention process. It's interesting, very often the more people there are, the less likely any one person is to help. You've seen this. We're driving down the highway, see someone stranded with a flat tire, hundreds of cars driving by, including us, and as we drive by we think, what? Well, somebody surely will stop and help. On the other hand, if we're out on a lonely backcountry road, middle of nowhere, and we see that same person stranded, we drive by and think, wow, there might not be another car for hours. I better stop and see if I can help. In other words, that responsibility to help gets diffused if there are more people around. The research did show that bystanders do feel more of a responsibility to help if they have some kind of relationship with that victim. So if that's a friend or classmate or sorority sister. Another factor in deciding whether or not to intervene was the measure of that victim's worthiness. The victim's worthiness. In other words, if she is dressed provocatively or if she's drunk, bystanders admitted they would be less likely to step in and intervene. Can you imagine the thoughts going through somebody's head if they see that? Well, it's no wonder that happened, the way she came up in here all dressed like a hoe. And that's got to be, besides her 4th or 5th cup of punch, right? So many bystanders will fall short here. The 4th step is to decide how to help. So they've decided they should help. Now it's to decide what exactly should they do. Unfortunately, some bystanders at this point simply don't know what to do. They don't know what they should say. Should they go say something to him? Should they go say something to her? Should they create some kind of diversion or distraction? Should they go get someone else to come in and assist them? And again, people who don't know what to do very often do nothing. The 5th step in the process is finally to act. They've noticed, they've identified that there could be a problem. They've taken responsibility. I should probably do something. They decided, this is what I should do. And now it's time to act. But again, there are some barriers here that may keep people from following through on that last step. And you've seen this. Think back to a time, maybe at work or in a social gathering, where somebody was really out of line, clearly out of line. And later, when you looked back on that event, you thought to yourself, boy, I really should have said something. That guy was a real jerk. But at the time, you didn't. I've been guilty of that. We all have. And these students are in that same situation. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to look awkward. They don't want to be ridiculed by the other person there at the party. So they walk away and they don't act. I know when I was a 19-year-old college kid, I probably wouldn't have passed this test. I wouldn't have gotten through all 5 steps. Don't bet your whole safety program on the 19-year-old student having the clarity, the maturity, the sobriety, the courage to step in and intervene in a given situation. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not against bystander intervention. It's a fascinating topic. It's a great tool. We should encourage students to be more aware, be willing to step in. I'm just saying, don't rely on this one strategy to transform your campus. Rather, it should be part of an overall approach to your sexual assault prevention efforts.